I don't think you're stupid.
Prove it. Put me on that film jury festival thing.
Fine, you're on the jury.
Are you a beginner artist or a huge cartoon fan and had to be watching this video? Well, listen up, because I'm going to tell you some of the most important advice I've learned thus far on my road to improving as an artist again to the industry. You gotta get out of your comfort zone. Gotta get a good media diet. You could always see the literal meaning as the sum of information and entertainment media taken in by an individual group. As explained to me by the people I've spoken to on my podcast, however, I can say it's basically having a wide variety of interests across various forms of entertainment and being able to try new things. It's not always intentional, but I know that a lot of people who are super passionate about cartoons tend to only watch cartoons. And I feel that you're not only doing yourself a disservice when it comes to having well-rounded taste, but you're also not helping yourself appreciate cartoons on a broader level. I can understand this though. When you get to be a certain age, you kind of get told that you're too old for cartoons. I'd say half of people take this to heart and give up on animation entirely, and exclusively watch mature stuff to feign their own maturity.
His mother is in his belly. What the fuck? His dad fucked a rock? I don't know who's trolling or not.
But in their early 20s, you see these people go back and see that at the very least, the stuff that they grew up on was pretty cool. Or they get back to animation entirely and see that a lot of new stuff is cool. The other half clings onto watching cartoons and in an inverse way, rejects non-animated media or non-kids media because of not wanting to be viewed as mature solely through what they watch in their own leisure. Which honestly is a pretty fair take. But you end up robbing yourself of experiences that you just can't find in cartoons, and especially just in kids' cartoons.
What if we find a cure for your disease, like in that film, Lorenzo's Oil?
Isn't that the picture you called a mixture of fantasy and crap?
Yes, I dubbed it Fantacrap.
I was this way myself. I view the situation very similarly to the idea of video game fans only listening to video game music. Because when I was 8 to 12, that was me. I was a goober only listening to Sonic music. And to be fair, Sonic music is fucking awesome, but you can't listen to just that. My issue at the time was that I felt that mainstream pop music didn't appeal to me. There was nothing for me to like, and when I did find something that I liked, nobody else did. I think instead of clowning on people who have narrow perspectives in media, we should instead try more to group them together, I guess. You know, more things like letterbox collections or whatnot, or just simply saying, hey, if you liked Steven Universe, maybe you should check out something like Sailor Moon. Because the people who work in these shows are inspired of many things that are outside of animation. It isn't just to get references and jokes as an adult. Oftentimes, a show's entire identity can be broken down to being heavily influenced by other pieces of media. Gravity Falls was hugely inspired by Twin Peaks.
Oh, no wonder!
And My Magic Swords was inspired by, among other things, the Slayers and general tokusatsu like Kamen Rider. Hell, there was a pretty damn blatant Kamen Rider reference in Amphibia a while back. But I imagine that due to Toku being pretty niche even now, it went over a lot of people's heads. And like, I'm an anti-gatekeeper. If you're around me, you're gonna have your head yelled off about everything I'm passionate about, because I like talking about things that make me happy. But it bums me out that there's probably a lot of cartoon fans that simply would not check out Kamen Rider because it's not animated. That's not out yet, shut up! Furthermore, if you're an artist, half the time when you're not making art, you're tearing apart others' art to find out what makes it work. And that includes consuming media. If you're a writer, when you're watching or reading stories, you want to think about plot conveniences, tropes, dynamics, how two characters work in a setting and how others can affect them, how these characters fit into their world. If there's something cool, you gotta take note of it. To storyboarders, you gotta not only keep that in mind, but literally how television and film look and work. Rule of thirds, staging shots, and a bunch of other cinematography terms. Do not take me and my words as gospel, I did not go to film school. What does a shot consist of, and what does it accomplish in the story? What mood does it give off? And if you're referencing something that already exists, what purpose does it fulfill? Is it just for a joke, or is there meaning to it? Furthermore, can it be appreciated both if you're familiar with what's being referenced and if you're not? Again, I'm just a Joe Schmo who hasn't been to any art school and is just absorbing what I can through osmosis after talking to others who are way better than me in art, animating, or media analysis. But that's still way better than you think. It's definitely better than nothing. By broadening your media diet, you can look into experiences and perspectives that you hadn't otherwise considered, find ideas that you can be inspired by and want to replicate in your own work, or simply just wanting to find something funny to put in. All these are valid. Besides, a lot of artists tend to have some sort of overlap just due to having art brain anyway. So if you ask fellow-minded nerds about what stuff you should get into, chances are they'll not only recommend something that they like, but you'll like as well. Some of the stuff I've gotten recommended are stuff like Man-Seeking Woman, Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, The IT Crowd, The Blues Brothers, Doctor Who, and Frasier. But stuff that I would recommend to you would consist of iZombie, Just Shoot Me, The Way Way Back, The Kings of Summer, Kids Return, and The World's End. There's definitely some lesser known animated stuff that I would also recommend, like Wolf's Children or A Silent Voice. But think of how much of Samurai Jack's DNA comes from other media, from Lone Wolf and Cub to 300 and old school football documentaries. Even if you're not trying to make the next epic, whether you want to create or simply understand what others make on a deeper level, understanding how things work can help you gain a better appreciation for anything, and maybe learn something along the way. It's definitely what I hope to do through making videos, and no matter what happens, you still gain something along the way, so there's no reason not to. So get out and look up some new experiences once in a while.
例えばさ、この映画面白いよみたいなのあります？仮面ライダー龍騎エピソードファイナルはいいですよ、すごく。あ、そうですか。はい。予想外だった。いや、ちょっと今のは。
That's a scene from Batman Mask of the Phantasm, a Batman animated feature that was made in 1993, and Roger and I never reviewed it, and as far as I'm concerned, we made a big mistake because it's terrific. I enjoyed it more than the current Batman adventure that's in theaters, and I kind of like that picture.
In the wake of New Deal for animation, more people are realizing just how long animation has been neglected in the eyes of the public. You can bemoan the Disney oversaturation in award shows, but I think the fact that Hollywood was so scared of Beauty and the Beast winning Best Picture that they made a category just for animated movies already speaks volumes. Animation is cinema, and animation is much more than Child's Play and Disney movies that have become marketing juggernauts on their own. And this isn't even to say that children's animation or even Disney animation doesn't deserve its own praise. However, I'm never going to think that people valuing animation over live action in return is fair. Both of these mediums can complement each other and influence each other on the regular. After a while, you're going to get tired of exclusively watching cartoons, especially kids' fare. Because when you get older, your standards and expectations for media increase, and you're only doing disservice expecting dark, complex narratives from shows made for 7 to 12-year-olds. Even if they do deliver on that, not each show can or should deliver on that to be considered good by an audience of 20-year-olds. I'm not even saying that you shouldn't watch cartoons, or they have to go straight from Victor and Valentino to The Sopranos or Breaking Bad, only watching mature stuff. Currently, I'm having a blast watching Kamen Rider Zero One, and it is indeed live action while also being for kids. Meanwhile, I saw and paid for a ticket to Morbius, and that was a snooze fest, while The Batman might be one of my favorite movies of all time now. I assure you, while there's nothing wrong with liking animation and wanting it to thrive, and be able to tell stories that are beyond just kids' fare, you also need to venture out and find stories to be touched by, and captivated by, or at least entertained by, instead of passing them up because they're not drawn, mocapped, or tweened. You'll be a better person all around if you do.
Is it really that good?
You'll never know if you don't watch for yourself.
Shh.